you're a professional?
Are you?
That's it, Clark. Show 'em who's boss.
Oh, we're all in this together.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the Clark Griswold YouTube channel. I am Mr. Clark Griswold. If you are a first timer, then welcome to the channel. I'm happy to have you guys here, and I'm happy to be here to bring you the watch list for Wednesday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Not a Star Wars fan, really, but everybody seems to say that. So, if you haven't subscribed yet, you can do so down below. Click that subscribe button. Hit that bell. That bell will give you notifications for when I send out videos just like this one every day. I also send out learning tools, motivational videos, informational videos. You can see videos on the 30 and 30 strategy, 3-1 setups, inside bar plays, what the numbers on the candlesticks mean, exits and entries, all kinds of other things, okay? You can also follow me on Twitter at Mr. Clark Griswold. You can comment there, you can DM me there, you can do the same thing on any of these videos. I usually get back to you guys within the same day. You can ask anybody, any one of my followers. I'm pretty helpful with you guys, and I'm here to help you guys. You can also click on this little face in the bottom right corner. That will also help you subscribe to the YouTube channel. So the vacuum cleaner is done. I'm ready to get this video out for you guys. I know it's late. I'm sorry. I like to get these out earlier, but as I always say, my family comes first. So let's get at it. Go through our plays. The first one I've got on the board is Snap, S-N-A-P. Okay, so Snap, we were 2 up. We finished red. A 2 up basically means we broke the high of the previous bar only. A 2 down would mean we broke the low of the previous bar only, okay? As in this one. This right here was a 2 down, this green bar. But it was a 2 down that failed. So we have a 2 up that now failed. So we're going to look for a 2-2 reversal, a 2 up. Tomorrow we're looking for a 2 down on Snap. Our trigger is going to be 28.48. That's where we can take our put options. And then our trigger is just the bottom. I'll move this down. The bottom of the preceding wick. Just like that, okay? So that's on Snap. I get a lot of questions about where I take my strike price and when I get my expiries. I like to take the next closest expiry. A lot of people don't like day of expiries. I don't mind playing them, but they're a little bit more risky than getting days out. And then as for a strike price, we can use this one as an example. When we trigger at 28.48, my strike price is going to be 28.50 or $28, somewhere in that range. So I try and get as close to the current price as possible when I'm taking these. Okay, so that is Snap. Next up, we've got CCL. It's Carnival Cruise Lines. Carnival Cruise Lines, exact same play. We had a 2 up that finished red. And I put out a tweet with CCL. I think I had AFRM on there, Lululemon, and I asked you guys what the significance was. What they all had something in common. So what it is if we trigger on the day tomorrow to the downside at 17.11, this blue line, I'm just going to switch to the monthly. We also trigger to the downside on the monthly. Again, now we've already triggered there once, but we are going to re-trigger on the month, okay, to the downside. And judging on this broadening formation, we should be heading down somewhere to this $14 range on Carnival, but we'll see how that goes. Doesn't always happen that way. But in saying that, that was one of the things that they had in common. We either are triggering the monthly at the same time, we trigger the monthly before we hit our first targets, or we trigger the monthly at first targets. And you'll see as we continue on what I mean by that. So let's go to Palantir, PLTR. Exact same setup, 2 up that finished red. And this is another one. If we trigger on the daily for our puts at 10:44, that's where we would jump in with the puts. Our trigger for the monthly is right here, and our first target on the daily, I'll change the color to green for you guys there. That is our first target on the daily. So we've already triggered the monthly, okay, if we hit that target. So we can go long on these and take a long play if you guys want on some of these plays, okay? So TTD is another one, 2 up that finished red. Again, we trigger here at $58.32 for puts. Our first target is here. Our second target is here. Our second target is also the trigger for the monthly, okay? So I didn't have TTD on there, but again, it's the same thing. So there's a bunch of these. Again, AFRM, we have a 2 up to finish red. Here is our trigger at $29.68. Our first target is, let me get out of here. Our first target is right there. And if we hit first targets, well, we've also triggered the monthly, okay? So we're going into force on the daily, and in order to get to our first target, we go into force on the monthly. And I can switch over to the monthly on AFRM and show you guys. We have already triggered it once, but we are going to re-trigger if we come through that target and hit that target, okay? So if you guys don't understand that or you have questions on it, you can ask me down below, or you can ask me on Twitter. You can DM me there, whichever is easier for you guys, but I'll give you guys a little bit more help with that if you need it. Okay, so Lululemon is another one. We have another 2 up that finished red. We trigger to the downside with puts at 353.12. Our first target there we go. Our first target is right. There we go. Our first target is right there. Okay, so if we are hitting first targets, then we are triggering the monthly again. Okay, so the daily, a lot of times the daily will trigger the weekly, will trigger the monthly. Let's see what we have on the weekly here. So we've already had a 2-2 continuation on the weekly, but the monthly is going to be a 2 up, 2 down reversal, which we've already put into force, okay? So next up on the list, we've got PayPal, PYPL. PayPal, beautiful 3-1 setup, okay? Exciting play here. I thought I had these targets set. Let's just move this one down. There we go. I think those look not quite. There is an easier way where you can just put in the dollar values on this to get these lines to line up, but I'm not doing that. So again, 3-1 setups. I always talk about these guys. They're super powerful. We're at the bottom. Oh, sorry. That's why it's a 3-1 setup, is because we were on the monthly. And that would mean, there we go. So we'll move those back in. Inside bar on PayPal, okay? I'm sure some of you guys caught that already. Inside bar on the daily on PayPal. I love the inside bars as well. Inside bars show consolidation. I'm just going to come back here for a second. So inside bars show consolidation in a stock, okay? Or a 1 bar when we're talking about this strat. And an inside bar does not break the high or the low of the previous candle. And it's like a spring. It's getting spring loaded, and it's getting ready to break to one side or the other. And we'll go back in time, as we always do, and we'll look at some inside bars. Inside bar, break to the downside. Okay, inside bar, break to the upside, past first target at the top of this wick. Inside bar, look, and we jump for 3 days on that one, on that inside bar. Okay, inside bar, break down for 4, 5, 6 days. Okay, so inside bars are a really, really powerful bar to play. Just because, like I said, it shows consolidation within a stock, and that's when we show consolidation, and then there's it just becomes spring loaded, and we get ready to explode, like I said, to one side or the other. Now, if we hit second targets here, this is our weekly trigger to the upside. Okay, so pay attention to that on PayPal. Next up is Square. Square had a 2 up that finished red. Okay, and this is a very similar situation to everything. This one was on our tweet. If we break the trigger to the downside with puts at $100.46, our first target is also the trigger for the monthly, guys. So pay attention to that. We could take Square long if we end up triggering here. And I can show you on this monthly chart. We have not triggered the monthly. We've tagged it. Have not triggered it. Okay, well, maybe we have just barely. 97.39, 97.27. So we have just tagged it barely. That's not something I would have jumped into on the first one anyways. But we go back to the daily. So, like I said, we trigger the daily. We hit first targets and through. Well, we've triggered the monthly, I guess you could say, again. Okay. Disney is up next. Disney is a 2 up that finished red also. So this is a 2-2 reversal that we're looking for. We can take puts at $112.72. That's this yellow line right there. 112.69, guys. And then again, our first targets are just the bottoms of the preceding wicks. So that's on Disney. CMCSA, that's Comcast, 2 up that finished red. Let's take puts at $39.96 on Comcast. GME inside bar premiums are usually pretty high on this one. Okay, but we can take calls at $124.25, puts at $114.53. You can see this blue line here is the monthly. So let's go to the monthly chart. And you can see we've already triggered to the downside on this 3-1 setup on GME. So, guys, if we go back to the daily and gals and we break this inside bar again, you can, again, likely jump in on monthly swings if you want to, if we break that inside bar, okay? So you should get some good gains off of GME. But again, the premiums tend to be a little bit higher. Okay, here's another one on Home Depot, 2 up that finished red. And I'm going to just slightly adjust this, not by much. 303.02, $303.02. We can take this for puts if we hit first targets and second targets, we will trigger the monthly, okay, on Home Depot. Next up, IBM, beautiful little inside bar here. It's a tight inside bar. And you can see if we look back, inside bar break to the low, that one would have gapped, but we still could have played that successfully on the gap. I'm going to show you another thing here too, because we do have another gap on IBM. But this inside bar, look, breaks for 3 days to the downside, to the bottom of this broadening formation. Inside bar, this one wasn't as great, small little uptick there. This one was a 3-1 setup with a big win. Okay, so I'll show you something on this inside bar. If we look at this, we have time frame continuity on the day, the week, and the month, all red. Okay, so we can look at calls at 133.60. We can also look at puts. So our puts would be, what do we have here? 131.99 would be our trigger for puts. And again, if we trigger this, we've re-triggered the weekly. And one thing I want to show you guys with this, if we go into here, and I'm going to mark the targets down for you guys so you can see this. That's our first target, okay, the bottom of the preceding wick. The next target is the top of the preceding wick. And I know I always tell you when we go down to do the bottoms, but because we have this gap, okay, you see how there's no candle wicks or bodies in between here? That constitutes a gap. Okay, so when we have these gaps, the top of the candle becomes the next target, and then you can take the bottom of the candle as your third target. Okay, so we have a couple things going for us here. We have a gap to fill, and usually a stock will fill every gap. The next thing we've got going for us is we have an inside bar. We also have time frame continuity. We also have the weekly possibly being re-triggered. Okay, if you're looking for this indicator here, go into your indicator tab, type in time frame continuity, author is board rider B, The other indicator, if you want these numbers, you can see my mouse on the left of the screen circling there. If you're looking for these 213 numbers, you can type in candle type the Strat. Author is Crinklebine. That'll give you that indicator. Okay, so that's IBM. How am I doing for time? Okay, let's keep going. So inside bar on KDP. Okay, so KDP, similar to what we've been dealing with earlier on. Inside bar, we can take calls at 37.49, puts at 36.72. This day can quite possibly tomorrow go to red. If we trigger on the daily, we will likely trigger the monthly or re-trigger the monthly, okay? Because we've already triggered that monthly right there. That's on Keurig Dr. Pepper. Coca-Cola, which is KO, has another inside bar. Time frame with the day, the week, and the month to the downside. There is our first target. And then you have to go back in time a little bit to get that second target. And that second target is there. Okay. So yeah, calls at 63.94, puts at 62.67 on Coke. Next up, we've got Lyft, LYFT, inside bar on Lyft. Calls at 31.66, puts 30.06. Time frame continuity fully to the downside. Target 1, and we have to go way. I don't even know if Lyft has ever been that low. I think that's an all-time low. So this is something that you might want to watch. If we tag this as our target to the downside, that's something we're going to want to watch. And if we hit that target, you might want to get out of that trade. Sarah Strat Sniper always talks about exhaustion risk. That's what she's talking about. We're coming down possibly to, if I redraw this broadening formation somewhat, it's a lower low, so we run into exhaustion risk there with Lyft. Macy's is up next. Macy's has a 2 up that finished red. Full time frame to the downside, so we can look for puts at 24.21. MA is MasterCard, inside bar, higher premiums. Bid-ask spread is also a little bit wider. We do have full time frame down. 363.44 with the calls. 353.44 with the puts. How am I doing for time? Okay, I got a little bit left. Next up, we've got Microsoft, another tight inside bar. So we can take calls on this one at 284.10, puts at 280.15 on Microsoft. Oracle, ORCL, another inside bar on Oracle. Time frame, as you noticed, to the downside. Calls at 74.22, puts at 72.77. Pinterest, PINS. This one should not be on there because we have a 2 up. If you wanted to look at this as a reversal, I don't really care what the colors are. It just gives us probability that if this was red, that this would head down. But we can play this if we wanted to. The trigger would just be 21.72, where this pink line would be, for a 2 up, 2 down reversal. Okay, so that's that. Walmart has an inside bar. Calls at 154.28, puts at 151.78. We have tagged the bottom of this broadening formation, so it's quite possible that we see a trend up in Walmart tomorrow. And guys, that's the list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have questions, leave them down below. Get a hold of me on Twitter. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if it sucked. And we will see you on the next one, guys. Bye-bye.